Well, my name is Sam Drake. I'm the president and founder of the Umunhum Conservancy, and I also want to thank the Commission for your time tonight. I also want to thank BASM. I mean, BASM has been working on this for years. BASM's a board member of the Umunhum Conservancy, and it, more than anyone else, is really the public face of the efforts to preserve the radar tower. And so I want to thank him for his diligence in getting us to this point and for his efforts in preserving the tower as well. I also want to thank everybody who came out tonight. We sent 2 emails and made 2 Facebook posts, and we got a room full of people. And imagine what we could have done if we'd tried a little harder, as we will if we make it to the Board of Supervisors. So BASM's talked about the historic background and the Conservancy's opinion about the historic nature of the tower. I wanted to talk for just a few minutes, respectful of your time, about the general background and the rest of the process that's led us here and the rest of the issues that face us at this point. Going through the background, this process really started back in 2011 and 2012 when the Open Space District, the owner of the tower, was trying to decide what to do with it. Back at that time, they had public hearings for the public on what to do, dedicated specifically for that purpose. More than 2,000 people signed an online petition to save it during that process, and hundreds of speakers, literally hundreds of speakers, came out to speak in favor of preserving it. So at that point, the Open Space District decided basically to defer the decision for 5 years, to, quote, give the community time to raise the funds necessary to preserve the tower, setting a fairly arbitrary deadline of October 2017 for that. We founded the Umunhum Conservancy 2 weeks later with the goal of raising those funds and preserving the tower. As of now, just as a status report for you, we have raised approximately 25% of the necessary funds. We have another 19 months before that arbitrary deadline. In my world, I don't know how your world works, but in my world, nothing gets done until the deadline. That's kind of the way things work. And I'm confident that we will achieve that goal, but any reasonable person would have to say that that success is not guaranteed at this point, right? And so, if we raise those funds, then we take MidPen at their word that the tower would be preserved, but nobody can guarantee that today. And so this historic process, this historic designation process, is an important part of the equation. I wanted to give you a couple of quotes, and I didn't pick these 2 particular quotes to name drop entirely. I picked these quotes because they illustrate the 2 different ways in which the tower is important to our community. The first one talks about the importance of the tower and the Almaden Air Force Station and its role in the Cold War and in protecting the Bay Area. And that's a very important aspect of why the tower is important to people here in the South Bay. It is the last visible remnant of that period of our Cold War history. It is an underserved, underrepresented period in our history. The Cold War artifacts aren't known for their beauty, and they are demolished on a regular basis. But that's not the only reason why this landmark is important to our community. I'll be honest, it's not the main reason why it's important to me personally. And I think the second one from San Jose City Council member Johnny Camus embodies that one. And I will read this sentence. Like many families, when my family and I are coming back from a trip, we know we are close to home when we see the iconic tower atop Mount Umunhum. And that's really true. I know folks from San Mateo County and maybe folks from Palo Alto won't understand that. The folks from San Jose do. And our neighborhood, our space is defined by the Lick Observatory on this side and that tower on the other side. And for every person who comes up to me or writes me an email or sends me a Facebook post and says the tower is important to them because of its military history, 5 come up to me and give that speech about it, defining the South Bay. And I know that the folks from San Mateo don't get that, but the folks here in Santa Clara County really do. Our community support continues to grow. We have, via social media, primarily Facebook, we have more than 9,500 people who follow us, who support us. Always like to sort of make little sotto voice comment, that's a lot more than like the tower's owners. Thousands on our mailing list, thousands of people who come to BASM's presentations about the tower and anxious to learn more. And of course, there are these wonderful folks who've come out tonight. We're also blessed with the support of a wide contingent of local politicians and local leaders, starting with Mike Honda. Mike Honda is important. He's the man responsible for Mount Umunhum being opened, right? He got the $3 million that allowed the 30-year stalemate that kept that site closed to the public. He's the one who got the funds that have broken that and that are going to be responsible for it opening up this fall. Without that federal money, that place would still be closed and still be full of toxics, and we'd still be wondering when it would ever open. He's in favor of preserving the tower. And all of these folks have quotes on our website in favor of preserving the tower. The tower is, in fact, in danger. This isn't a hypothetical exercise. We're not saying, well, okay, maybe we need to protect it, but does it need protecting? It needs protecting. The tower's owners have been lobbying hard for the Conservancy, among others, to accept this compromise proposal, to take a 5-story structure and turn it into a 1-story shade structure, a gazebo. Everybody I've shown this photo to gasps and is shocked by it. But this is if you're talking about lack of historic integrity, there it is. The tower is really in danger and really does need our protection. Finally, we get comments. I got a lot of comments today on Facebook from a few folks who sort of draw a false competition between open space and preserving this structure. Well, I like open space, and so we shouldn't preserve the structure, people will say. Well, I like open space too. I'm a hiker. Open space is a wonderful thing. The point is it's been achieved. There is no conflict between open space and preserving this building. What you have on the screen before you is a map of the former Almaden Air Force Station. All the buildings and structures made up that Air Force Station. All of them are gone except the one that's in orange. The rest has been returned to beautiful open space. Open space has been achieved, and so there is no conflict between those two goals. So the tower's in danger. Thank you so much for your efforts, and I think that's everything. Thank you very much.